Today is Friday, August 29th. We'll tell you how other staffers at the CDC are now responding to the firing of the CDC director and why even some Republicans in Congress are alarmed. Also, the latest in the investigation into the Minneapolis school shooting and why firefighters on the job in Washington were arrested. Plus, an egg recall to tell you about, some heated moments between players at the U.S. Open, and what to know ahead of the Labor Day weekend. Those stories and even more news to know coming up. Welcome to The Newsworthy. All the day's news in around 10 minutes. Fast, fair, fun, and on the go. I'm Erica Mandy. Thanks so much for being here. You ready? Let's do this. The top public health agency in the country is now in turmoil. As we told you yesterday, the White House fired the new CDC director. Well, since then, reports say she was replaced by Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy's deputy. Jim O'Neill is a former investment executive who also worked in the health department under President George W. Bush, but does not have a medical background. The Trump administration has not officially confirmed his appointment, though. And as of this morning, there's still no real explanation for why the former director, Dr. Susan Menarez, was fired. The White House has only said she was not aligned with the Trump agenda. Menarez's lawyers say it's because she refused to, quote, rubber stamp unscientific, reckless directives. Well, the firing sparked backlash within the CDC. Dozens of staff members and leaders staged a walkout yesterday, and a few officials resigned in protest. When they went back to the office yesterday to collect their things, hundreds of people were there to applaud them. There's also criticism coming from some lawmakers on both sides of the aisle. 2 Republican senators called for congressional oversight. Some Democrats said Secretary Kennedy should be fired. For now, RFK Jr. is scheduled to testify on Capitol Hill next week. Investigators are starting to piece together more details about the horrific shooting at a Minneapolis church this week. Remember, a shooter opened fire at a mass that hundreds of Catholic school students were attending. We now know an 8-year-old boy named Fletcher and a 10-year-old girl named Harper were both killed. Yesterday, their families expressed how no one should have to endure that kind of pain. But they also thanked first responders and people inside the church who kept the tragedy from being even worse. Teachers and children reportedly followed their active shooter trainings. Kids protected their classmates, laying on the floor and covering each other, while teachers ushered others to safety. 15 other children ages 6 to 15 were hurt, along with 3 parishioners in their 80s, but they are all expected to survive. As far as the investigation goes, authorities say the shooter did not seem to have any specific motive, that she expressed hate toward many groups and was, quote, obsessed with the idea of killing children and wanted notoriety. The guns used in the attack were all bought legally. The killer did not appear on any government watch list, and police are not aware of any mental health diagnoses or treatment she was receiving. The shooter died of suicide at the scene. The U.S. Air Force has reversed course and is now offering military funeral honors to Ashley Babbitt, the Air Force veteran who was shot and killed by police during the January 6th Capitol riot. Babbitt was denied the honors under the Biden administration, but Air Force Undersecretary Matthew Lohmeyer, a Trump appointee, now calls that decision incorrect. Supporters of the reversal, including retired General Mike Flynn, see it as a long overdue recognition of her veteran status. But critics, like veteran and former Congressman Adam Kinzinger, say honoring someone involved in an insurrection undermines the integrity of the military and dishonors those who defended democracy. Babbitt spent 4 years on active duty and had been deployed to Iraq, Afghanistan, and the United Arab Emirates. She was killed by Capitol Police on January 6, 2021, as she tried to climb through a window leading into the Speaker's lobby at the U.S. Capitol while members of Congress were still evacuating. Workers helping to put out a wildfire in Washington state have now been arrested by immigration agents. A supervisor who's been overseeing fire crews in the Olympic National Forest says this was one of the first times federal agents have been known to enter a fire zone as part of an immigration crackdown. He says many of the contract workers were Mexican, but all of them carried work visas and passports. Still, 2 of them ended up being arrested on the suspicion of being in the U.S. illegally. U.S. Customs and Border Protection did not give many details, just that the arrests followed a criminal investigation into contracting companies. Those companies' contracts have now been terminated. Washington and Oregon rely on contract crews because of a federal firefighter shortage, but this could mark a change in how natural disasters are handled. It's something that doesn't usually happen unless it's a presidential election year. But now both Democrats and Republicans are thinking about holding conventions ahead of the midterms. They're trying to find ways to motivate voters to turn out for the election that will determine control of both the House and the Senate. Conventions would allow top candidates to get nationwide attention and fundraise. and they could help boost the profiles of politicians hoping to get some momentum ahead of the even larger election in 2028. At this point, though, the idea is very much an if for both parties, since talks are in the early stages. More news still coming up, but first, this episode is brought to you by Wix.com. Turning an idea into a real business can feel a bit overwhelming, but building your website doesn't have to be. In fact, it's a piece of advice I often give. Don't spend too much time on your website when you have more important things to do. And with Wix.com, you can have a professional, business-ready site in minutes. Just answer a few questions with their AI builder, and it creates a personalized site for you. Or if you want more control, pick from more than 2,000 designer templates that come with all the business features you need built right in. Wix makes the process simple. The interface is drag and drop with access to an AI image studio, beautiful design effects, and tools to help your brand stand out. And it's not just about looks. Wix lets you sell products, offer services, or schedule appointments, all without extra add-ons. It's a complete business solution. With nearly 2 decades of experience, Wix knows what it takes to help people turn ideas into thriving businesses. Ready to create your own website? Go to Wix.com. That's Wix.com to start building your website today. Thanks to Wix for sponsoring our show. Now back to the news. Labor Day weekend is upon us, and that means a lot of different things to Americans. For many, it's a chance to sneak in one final summer getaway, barbecue, or pool visit before fall gets here. But officially, the holiday is about celebrating the hard-won achievements of America's labor movement, and it's a recognition of what workers have contributed to the country. Expect to see parades, parties, and plenty of speeches. And of course, lots of travel. In fact, this Labor Day weekend is expected to be one of the busiest in travel history. TSA expects to screen more than 17 million people at American airports this weekend, and highways are expected to be crowded with road trippers. Officials expect today to be the peak travel day, whether you're flying or driving. One more thing Labor Day weekend is known for: sales. It's one of the last big savings events before Black Friday. Credit reporting giant TransUnion has uncovered a data breach that's impacted millions of customers. The company disclosed the breach in a couple of state filings, and in one of them, it confirmed personal information was stolen, including customers' names, dates of birth, and social security numbers. TransUnion stores financial data for more than 260 million Americans. It's believed 4.4 million of them had their information compromised. Notices are going out to those people now. By the way, this is just the latest corporate giant to be hacked in recent weeks. Others include tech giant Google, insurance giant Allianz Life, and HR giant Workday. Health officials are investigating a salmonella outbreak linked to eggs. At least 95 people have gotten sick so far. The eggs come from a supplier out of California called Country Eggs. They were sold in grocery stores in California and Nevada under Japanese brand names and were also packed for restaurants. They don't expire for another couple of weeks, so the company says anyone who may still have some should either return them or throw them away. We have more information posted in a link on today's episode notes. We're only about halfway into the U.S. Open, and already things are getting especially tense. Just this week, there have been a couple of on-the-court confrontations. First, it was Russian tennis star Daniil Medvedev who got upset when a photographer stepped onto the court just as his French opponent, Benjamin Bonzi, was about to make his second serve. With that, the umpire decided to put Bonzi back onto his first serve. That decision really set Medvedev off. He shouted at the umpire, grabbed his microphone, and started talking to the fans who filled the stadium with whistles and boos. The match had to be stopped for about 6 minutes as Medvedev continued to rile up the crowd. Bonzi went on to win the match, and Medvedev repeatedly hit his racket against the bench. Then yesterday, he got fined $42,500 for unsportsmanlike conduct and racket abuse. On the women's side yesterday, things got heated between American Taylor Townsend and Latvian player Jelena Ostapenko. After Townsend won their match, Ostapenko demanded Townsend apologize for a moment in the match when her ball clipped the top of the net and apparently helped her secure a point. When Townsend refused to say sorry, Ostapenko told her she had no class and no education. Some fans thought the insult might have racial undertones since Ostapenko is white and Townsend is black. But Townsend said she doesn't know either way, and Ostapenko made a statement later saying she's never racist and respects all nations of people. Townsend now moves on, and Ostapenko goes home. Legendary football coach Bill Belichick and his girlfriend have taken what some may consider an insult and turned it into a business opportunity. This week, they filed to trademark the term gold digger. 73-year-old Belichick and 24-year-old Jordan Hudson have been dating for a little over a year. And because of their age difference, the term has now been used to describe Hudson by people who believe she's only in the relationship for the money. Belichick has plenty of it since he reportedly earned $200 million as head coach of the New England Patriots. Now, the company Belichick owns and Hudson runs applied for the trademark to use the term on jewelry and keychains. Meanwhile, Belichick is preparing for his first season as head football coach at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. UNC begins its season this Labor Day. That's it for the main news today, so now it's time for Feel Good Friday, when we bring you one extra feel-good or positive news story before the weekend. But first, a break to thank our sponsor. My 4-year-old looks forward to his Hiya vitamins and probiotics every day. And as a parent, I love that it's a healthy habit that he's actually excited about. Most children's vitamins are loaded with sugar, sometimes as much as 2 teaspoons per serving. But Hiya is different. They're made with 0 sugar, 0 gummy additives, and they still taste great. And these vitamins use organic fruits and veggies, plus 15 essential vitamins and minerals to support immune health, energy, brain function, mood, and more. And if you're tired of battling with your kids to eat their greens, Hiya now has Kids Daily Greens and Superfoods, a chocolate-flavored greens powder designed specifically for kids, packed with more than 55 whole food ingredients to support brain power, development, and digestion. Just scoop, shake, and sip with milk or any non-dairy beverage for a delicious and nutritious boost your kids will actually enjoy. And we've worked out a special deal with Hiya for their best-selling children's vitamin. Receive 50% off your first order. To claim this deal, you need to go to hiyahealth.com/newsworthy. This deal is not available on the regular website, so go to hiyahealth.com/newsworthy and get your kids the full body nourishment they need to grow into healthy adults. Now back to Feel Good Friday. A teenager's birthday party in Mexico turned into a nationwide celebration, all because of a Facebook post. It started when 15-year-old Isela Anai Santiago Morales tried to celebrate her quinceañera last month. Her parents, local garbage collectors, had saved to throw her a small party. But it turned out to be a disappointment. Few people showed, so her father posted on Facebook about leftover food he didn't want to go to waste. That simple message went viral, attracting donations, a free photo shoot, live music, and even the municipal stadium as a venue. Despite torrential rain, about 2,000 people came and stayed to dance, sing, and celebrate with her. Local bands performed, sponsors helped cover costs, and Isela led a choreographed dance in a bright pink gown. Beyond the party, she even received a scholarship and a plot of land in her hometown, a gift that left her in tears. For her, it was an unexpected night of joy with a lasting impact and a reminder of the power of community. Thank you so much for listening today. We'll be back tomorrow with our special edition Saturday episode. In honor of Labor Day coming up, we're talking all about job trends and cultures as today's workplaces grapple with a changing labor market, return to office policies, the use of AI, and more. Then we're off on Monday due to the federal holiday, but we'll have your next Daily News Roundup on Tuesday. For now, have a great weekend.